Well, Jack Jenkins, welcome to Fox. It's great to see you again so soon.
Yeah, good to be here.
It's interesting, right, because before the injury, you were so active, and then you had that great win over Herbert Burns, and here you are 5 months later. It almost feels as if you're picking up where you left off. Is that accurate?
Definitely, yeah. I think I said it in the press conference before the fight with Herbert that the only satisfactory result for me was going to be regaining all the momentum that I had before I lost the Chepe fight. So I think I did that, and now I just want to keep the foot to the floor. We're looking for a big year this year and end up finishing somewhere in the top 10.
You did have some really great momentum, and you're in a really interesting spot, Jack, because I kind of feel like for the longest time, Volk and Rob were the ones flying the flag for the UFC at the very top. Taito Ivasa obviously came very close, and Jack Della is there now. But I feel like for the rest of the Aussies on the roster, your record is the most impressive, disregarding the injury. You haven't lost in 7 years. There's sort of this feeling that you're going to be the next guy. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I've felt that all along. I've believed in myself since, there was a time early in my career where I took 2 losses in a row. And after those, I just went, no, I'm good enough. I'm going to get there. And if I didn't think I was talented and had the work ethic to be a world champion, I just wouldn't do it. I have other things I'm passionate about. I have other things that I could be doing, for a living. And it would be probably a hell of a lot easier than what I'm doing right now. But I genuinely believe I'm a world champion caliber fighter. And every chance you get to go out there with the UFC and prove that, you just got to take it with both hands. Like you said, I had that period of inactivity due to injury or whatever. So now it's just about keeping the foot to the floor and proving that I belong up there.
So do you do it because you know you're good at it and you know that you have what it takes to be champion? Or do you do it because you genuinely love fighting? It's
a combination of both. I love fighting, but if I didn't believe that I was good enough to get there, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But even if I thought I was good enough, if I didn't love it, I probably wouldn't do it.
Right. When do you soar to those heights, Jack? Do you feel as though with a win here, you do get a fight against a ranked opponent?
Yeah, my whole career I never look past one opponent, so I don't think about names or anything like that. But my whole career I've always looked at what's my best case scenario going forward. Yeah. So, when I won the Australian title, I thought, all right, what's my best case scenario to get to the UFC right now? And you outline a plan, and that's pretty much how it happened. Didn't lose a fight after that, finished the guys, was impressive. My plan for this year is win this fight dominantly, get a fight inside the top 15 in the middle of the year, get a fight inside the top 10 at the end of the year, and then sit down with the Victorian government and the UFC and say, let's organise a show back in Melbourne, Rod Laver Arena, we can do a fight night and I can be the co-main event or main event, putting myself in that spot to be the #1 contender for the UFC featherweight title.
It's interesting with you, Jack, because you're obviously a very smart guy. You're very introspective, very cerebral at times. It's obvious that you do a lot of thinking. Is that sort of a blessing and a curse for you as a fighter?
I think it's only a curse if you're worried about doing other things.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely an element of, I think my mum would tell you you could do other stuff. You could you don't have to do this, and that's true. But I think like Arman Sarukian, who's comes from a different family where his dad has a lot of money, and I heard someone say that, is it more dangerous to fight him because he has other options and he chooses to fight, or is it more dangerous to fight the guy who fights because he has no other option?
Yeah.
And I think in my case, I do have other options, but I choose this because I love it. And like I said, I think I'm, one of the best guys in the world, and I'm here to prove it.
Yeah, you're certainly a character and a personality that all the fans love. In addition to that, though, you seem almost unflappable at times. I did want to ask, with the injury, has that changed at all for you? Are you more apprehensive at times inside the octagon and at training because of it?
No, I think it's had the absolute opposite effect to that. So,
really?
Yeah, so there was this sort of 2-day period after the injury where I was waiting to see the surgeon, and I had to get myself comfortable with the fact that maybe the elbow was never going to be the same. I might not be able to get it straightened out completely, which would take away my reach, which would take away my ability to throw a right hand. And in that 2 days, when you see the fact that you've put your whole life towards something and it could get taken away because of one mistake, it had the opposite effect on me, where I thought, if my elbow will heal and I get a chance to do this again, I'm going to make sure I take it with both hands, and I'm going to take big risks, and I'm going to, show every piece of what I can do in the cage rather than be a little bit more tentative and reserved.
Right.
Because, every fighter will tell you it hurts to lose, but the only way you're really upset with yourself is if you don't show what you're capable of. So if you go there and you hesitate and you keep something in the tank, you leave feeling just really, really poor and really deflated about it. If I go out there and I let everything go and I get beaten by a guy who outclasses me, I don't think I'll have an issue with it. I honestly don't.
I always say this, your mentality and your maturity is very, very impressive. How were you during the road to recovery after the injury, though? Were there dark times? Was it difficult?
No, not at all. After the 2 days, I saw the surgeon, and he said to me, he was watching the footage of it happening, and then he read the MRI, and then he grabbed my arm and he goes, "Mate, you're a freak. This is unbelievable how much movement you've got, how much the swelling's gone down in a short amount of time. You'll make a full recovery." And then he said, elbows aren't like shoulders. When you heal an elbow, it comes back as strong as it was. So your risk of re-injury is very low. Do the rehab, take the time with your strength coach and your physio to get back to 100%, and you're going to be fine. And from that day, as soon as I knew it hadn't been taken away from me and I was, able to continue doing this, it was just like, every day, easy. Get up, do your rehab. Get up, do your rehab. Get up, do your rehab. And then when I got to beat Herbert Burns and, use that arm a lot, and I dropped him with the right hand at the very end of the fight, it was like, I'm here.
We're back.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we're so happy to see you back. But Gabriel Santos, another Brazilian, seems to be a very balanced fighter. What do you make of him, and what are you wary of?
100%. Like, Gabriel's from the same generation as me, where he came up as an MMA fighter. He's not a kickboxer who's transitioned, or a jiu-jitsu guy who's transitioned. He's been an MMA fighter for his whole career. So he's threatening everywhere. He's dangerous everywhere. And I think, there's a really good chance you see him in the top 15 at some point too. It's unfortunate that we're meeting when we're both not in there, but, I'm firmly committed to being in that top 10, and Gabriel's in the way, so I've got all the tools to take him out.
Jack is back. We love to see it. Thanks for your time, mate.
Thanks very much.